Peter, good morning to you. To Kelsey's point there, United Airlines says a looming strike won't be immediate, but the flight attendant union says they could implement what they call chaos. What are we talking about here?
Well, under labor relations laws that are specifically designed to deal with transportation workers, that's airline, flight attendants, pilots, even railway workers, it doesn't just work the way that the union calls for a strike and they go out on strike. The strike vote, that 99% vote that you reported on, was just giving union management the authorization to call a strike. Now, before that could ever happen, remember, this is still before the National Mediation Board. They have to be a release from the board saying they could not agree on a contract with management. And at that point, that would trigger an additional 30-day cooling off period, which would then be followed by arbitration. And if that didn't work, then the union could call for a strike. But there's one more tool in the arsenal, if you will, and that is the President of the United States could then declare with an executive order that this is a national emergency and order the flight attendants to not go on strike. This happened, by the way, a little more than 30 years ago when President Clinton exercised that order when it dealt with American Airlines pilots. So as Kelsey just reported, this is not going to happen right away. In fact, it wouldn't necessarily happen right away because remember, right after Labor Day starts the fall and the fourth quarter, which is not a usually busy time for airlines. Flight attendants want to have the most impact if they're going to strike, and the only other time they're going to do it, if they're going to do it, would be right before Thanksgiving. So Labor Day travel is not really going to be affected.
How do you see all of this playing out?
Well, if you look at the other airlines where there have been contracts that have not been signed for quite some time, they usually wait until the last minute and they come to the bargaining table with those double-digit increases. Because remember, a lot of flight attendants at other airlines have also worked without contracts for many, many years. I mean, without new contracts. So my guess is wait till about the end of October, and then you're going to see some movement from both labor and management, and this will get solved.
The Washington Post wrote an article recently about the plight of flight attendants, how many of them, they say, are on the verge of homelessness. Help us understand the complexity of the pay structure, why so many flight attendants are struggling, and we're seeing scenes like that playing out at airports across the U.S.
Well, if you take a look at the beginning salary of a flight attendant, it's equivalent to maybe a Walmart greeter. And they can't even afford to live in the cities where they're based. They're all commuters because of the cost of living. So this is not an unusual claim because it's actually played out so many times before. And anytime you have a contract that's not been done in more than 3 years, you're going to deal with cost of living problems, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Okay, still some encouraging news. For passengers, at least, no immediate impact from this strike, or a strike authorization, I should say. We'll see how all of this plays out.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.